Good day everyone and welcome to COM4809 Advanced Research Report. This video acts as the orientation class for COM4809 and we would like to talk you through the module and what to expect. The bolts and the nuts of how all the things work together this year. First, let me start by introducing us. The module coordinators for COM4809 is myself and Professor Viola Milton. Now, you will get to see us, really get to see us, in the live broadcast class on Monday the 8th of April, where we will be talking you through the specifics of Assignment 1. Please see my UNISA for more details on that. In this video, we want to walk you through the module as a whole. So, the first thing in terms of COM4809 that you should know is that Professor Milton and I do not work alone. All staff members in the Department of Communication Science form part of COM4809. The reason for this is that each student of COM4809 is assigned a supervisor. Here is how it works. As a student, what you need to do in order to receive a supervisor is submit the first assignment on time. We're not able to assign supervisors on an ad hoc basis in the year, so we need to know who is committed to working with the supervisor for every assignment and in every step of the way in this research process. Therefore, submit your first assignment if you're interested in working with the supervisor this year. After you have submitted your first assignment, we will inform you about who in the department has been appointed as your supervisor and how you can contact this person. You will work with the supervisor throughout the year. Keep an eye on my UNISA after assignment 1 has been submitted, as I say. Good. Now let's quickly talk about supervisors and about supervision. What is a supervisor? Well, a supervisor is there to oversee your project and to offer you advice regarding the direction of your research and the research choices that you execute. Now, take note here, this person is not a teacher or even a lecturer, they are a supervisor. As the name suggests, we expect you to be able to work independently in this module. It's actually a competency that you should be able to display as a prospective honors graduate. Too often, we encounter student expectations that are unrealistic. See, your supervisor is not there to ensure that you pass. The onus is not on them. It is, and always will be, on you. You are, after all, the one whose qualification is on the line here. So, in terms of COM4809, you can expect your supervisor to mark all of your assignments. Your one supervisor will mark all of the assignments that you submitted. You can ask your supervisor any questions regarding your work and the content of COM4809 in order to discuss any problem areas or aspects that you're unsure about. Now, here I need to make something clear again. Remember how we said that your supervisor is not a teacher, for example? Well, that is because your supervisor is not here to teach you all about research. Your previous years of study is the basis for that. For example, your undergraduate degree and other honors modules that you may have already completed. So, a typical question to your supervisor should not be, please explain to me what a unit of analysis is. Rather, a typical question should be, I think in my research specifically, the units of analysis are the smallest block of text examined in the content analysis. I know this can be either words or sentences, but what I want to know is, can I have words as the units of analysis for the tweets that I examine, and sentences as the units of analysis for my selected media articles? Do you see the difference here? Your supervisor is there to advise you in terms of the nuanced choices and activities that you will be expected to execute as part of COM4809. Lastly, your supervisor will also be able to look at redrafts of your assignments. This is to say that your supervisor will look at work that you have redrafted or reworked based on their comments. This is mostly with an eye towards your portfolio. More about this later. Take note, supervisors cannot look at an assignment before it is submitted. They can only look at redrafts. Also remember that your supervisor is not only supervising you. They will, on top of all of their other modules and responsibilities, be juggling many COM4809 students. As a rule of thumb, supervisors should not be seeing more than 2 to maybe 3 redrafts of any aspect. So remember, supervisors cannot keep rereading your work over and over. You need to get it right and pay very close attention to the comments offered. Now, if this sounds daunting, you're right. Research certainly is daunting and even hard. That is normal. I assure you, my first encounter with postgraduate research was not smooth sailing. In fact, I remember there being some tears involved. The thing is, if you work harder than you ever have, do what we tell you and expect of you when you are supposed to function on a higher level that is postgraduate, you will be just fine. It won't be easy, but it is possible. The prescribed book and the recommended reading is there to help, and it's really the first step here. You should read your prescribed book through from cover to cover. The reason for this is that you should have a good, solid overview of the research process as a whole, even before we start with this module. As you will see a little later on, each assignment is a pit stop or a step in the research process. This is why we give you just under a week from the release of this first orientation video to the broadcast on assignment 1. Your focus right now should not be on the assignments of the module, but the content of the module. We will take questions and will engage with aspects around assignment 1 after the 8th of April's broadcast. Take the time now to become acquainted or brush up on the research process and what is expected in this module. Okay, now let's focus on the assignments for the module and see how they slot into one another, as I just mentioned. You have 4 assignments and a portfolio as the formal assessments of COM4809. Each one of your assignments will be converted into a chapter, which will eventually constitute your research portfolio. So the assignments will become chapters. Assignment 1 will become Chapter 1, Introduction and Overview of Research. The next assignment will become Chapter 2, Literature Review. The next, Chapter 3, will become the Methodology of the Research. Then Chapter 4, the Findings of the Research. As you can see, each assignment is not an island on its own. It is part of a bigger whole, the bigger picture that you need to keep in mind at all times. Then, for your module mark, each assignment and the portfolio contributes. Actually, they contribute almost in equal measures. The portfolio is 60% and the assignments 40%. This shows you that everything that you do in this module is important. Do not underestimate any of it. What you also have to keep in mind is that the assignments are not the only activities that you will need to complete for this module. As you can see in the figure that we have supplied you in Tutorial Letter 101, there are many activities that need to take place in between and parallel to assignment submissions. This is why your assignments are spaced out over the months of this year as they are. This is not to give you a rest between assignments. If you take a rest between submitting one assignment and then another, you will soon run into trouble for time. No, as soon as you submit one assignment, you need to already be or get busy with the activities for the next assignment that is to follow. As you can see, time management is of the utmost importance in this module. If you fall behind, it's very hard and not necessarily possible to catch back up. We see this all the time. Please keep up with the timelines and stay ahead of the work for this module. It is a lot, but it's possible, as I've said. Also keep in mind that the portfolio date is a non-negotiable date that cannot be moved for any reason. This point is a good bridge to the next things that I want to discuss with you before we look at the 3 options that you have for your research topic this year. These are some important notes for your assignments. Firstly, all of your assignments must go through the program Turnitin before you submit it formally via MyUnisa. Now, very, very important to note here, you must not supply only a screenshot of the first page of your Turnitin report to the submission that you make on MyUnisa. If you do this, you will be penalized. No, the PDF version of your whole Turnitin report must be submitted as your assignment. This means that you have to include absolutely everything in your submission to turn it in. Your table of contents, your list of sources consulted, your declaration, all of it. Because the report that Turnitin generates has to be submitted as is to MyUnisa. Right off the bat here, you're thinking, hold on. Does this not mean that my similarity index will be very high if I do this? Well, yes, possibly. But you see, if you interpret your report, you do not have to rely so heavily on the actual similarity index. You will look at what is flagged and why it is flagged, whether it's plagiarism proper or only incidental similarity. Now, both students and lecturers are forced to take a deep, hard look at your similarity report, not just the similarity index, seeing as your whole report is submitted as your assignment. Please have a look at Tutorial Letter 101 for more on Turnitin. You will be enrolled on the program and will receive instructions as to the activation of your account before the end of April. Please also see the deadlines we expect of you in terms of registering for the module. The second very important aspect is the aspect of research ethics. Now, you will have to complete the forms and attach all relevant aspects for approval as included as addenda in Tutorial Letter 101. Not everything will be applicable to everyone. Some will have interviews and therefore will have to complete informed consent forms for their participants. Some might have an organization as their empirical environment and might thus need a letter of permission from the organization. The point is that the requirements will be different for each report. You need to make sure that you adhere to all of the aspects that you need to. I cannot stress this enough. You will need to clear a very high bar here. Furthermore, I want to remind you of two things. Firstly, many students, mostly because of less than ideal time management skills, submit their first draft of their assignment to us. The first draft of an academic work is never good enough, and it never becomes good enough for submission. Trust me on this. Professors with many years of experience will tell you they do not even submit the first drafts of articles for publication. You have to work, rework, and then rework a little more each assignment that you submit. It is only once you rework what you have that you're able to spot mistakes, holes in the argumentation, and the like, which could cost you a lot of marks unnecessarily. Just so, remember that you are a communication scholar. Take time to ensure that what you write down is exactly what you want to say and how you want to say it. Your words are your tools. It's also all that we have to judge your aptitude by. Make sure it represents all that you have to offer as a postgraduate student and as a scholar. Right, now for the part that you have all been wishing I would get to already. The three options that you have for your research in this year. Now, those of you who have done COM4809 in the past will realize that the requirements have changed completely. Indeed, they have. For COM4809 in 2019, you will have to execute, this means that you will have to do one of 3 research projects. We will talk you through these in more detail in the class for assignment 1. For now, I just want to give you an overview. So the first 2 options you will see are similar, and then there's a third which acts as almost an outlier. Okay, so the first 2 options each have a semi-complete research proposal attached to them. For option 1, you will have to do the research as outlined in Addendum A. For option 2, you will have to do the research as outlined in Addendum B. We have offered you the bulk of the research direction in these proposals and expect you to customize them to your own ideas and thinking, filling in the blanks that we have purposely put there. If you do the research supplied as part of option 1, you will have to do a qualitative content analysis exploring and describing the conduct of Bell Pottinger in the economic emancipation campaign. You will have to offer recommendations for the revision of the PRCA and PRESA's ethical codes of conduct as an outcome of your research. If you choose option 2, you will have to execute a qualitative content analysis exploring and describing the propaganda wars spearheaded by Bell Pottinger in the economic emancipation campaign. You will be able to customize the outcomes based on this. Both of these research proposals were written on a level on par with postgraduate studies, particularly honors. We hope it offers you inspiration and acts as a springboard for your creativity. It could also be a good bar by which to measure the level of this module and yourself in relation to it. The third option, you will notice, does not have a completed proposal as an addendum attached to it. The reason for this is that we're giving you the option of executing a completed research proposal that you have. Before I get into this specifically, I need to remind you that this module services more than one qualification. Students from different honor specializations all do COM4809. Some students will have completed modules that have, as their final summative portfolio examination, a proposal as an outcome of the module. This means students who pass these modules have an actual completed proposal in hand. This option is for those students. So, this option has very clear guidelines and requirements. Please listen carefully. As you will see on the screen, this option is for those of you who have a successfully completed proposal. Herein, you will have to firstly have an actual proposal. This proposal must be one that you completed as part of another module, for example, COM4802 or CHS 4801. If those are modules that you took in previous years. The proposal must also be completed. This means that you should not still be busy with the module, you should have completed it. Naturally, your completion would imply that you passed the module, which is what the successful refers to. If you failed a research proposal module, you may not use that failed proposal as COM4809's project. So, option 3 is only for those students whose qualification includes a module where a proposal serves as the final outcome of that module, who have passed that module, and who thus have a completed research proposal in hand, ready for execution. This option is not for you if you do not have a completed proposal in hand right now, or if you are a student doing all 5 honors modules in 1 year and this an exclusion based on this first point. If you have failed your research proposal topic and have not passed it since, or if you still have to make up or think up a topic. Very importantly, this option cannot be used for students who have done COM4809 in the past and want to redo a previous COM4809 topic. For example, communication satisfaction. No, you cannot redo a previous year's COM4809 topic here. This option is only for those students that have their own new research proposal that was drafted when they successfully completed another module as part of their honors studies. If you submit a previous COM4809 topic, like communication satisfaction for example, you will get 0% for the assignment and all subsequent assignments that you do this for, and we will send you back to the drawing board and ask you to pick option 1 or 2 again and start from scratch. Okay, so this offers you an overview of the module. We hope it clears up some of your questions that you might have. If you are still unsure about an aspect relating to the module as a whole, please only just let us know. As said, we will delve into the aspects of Assignment 1 in the live class that is scheduled for the 8th of April. Keep an eye on my Unisa for that. See you then.